You have awoken to find yourselves lying down. You hear the chanting, the deep, perverse noise of it, words that you can't understand, but that make the very marrow of your bones cold. Your gambit worked. You are awake, here in Second World once more. But there is much to do. And the druid chants on. Everybody roll for initiative. It is not for nothing that this druid has grown to such power. He notices you stir. Perhaps it is the change in your heartbeat or the change in the thread which he pulls your spirit from. The skull mask turns slightly to face the four of you. He reaches out his hand. Black Owl. Please make a... Oh, sorry, no, it's not a save. He reaches out one hand, his chanting barely ceasing, barely faltering. You feel a chill within your spirit. Please take 1 necrotic damage. Stands fast, it is your turn.
Stands fast would immediately reach towards the knife at her side and lunge towards the druid, trying her best to take him by surprise, not knowing that he's already aware that they are awake.
It'll be half your movement to get up from where you lie. And it will take you both the rest of your movement and your action to reach him over the difficult terrain.
I get to ignore difficult terrain with
Excellent.
my ranger. Yeah.
Then you can reach him.
Perfect. But I do not have advantage, correct?
Correct. He is aware of you.
Yeah. So that will be a 20 to hit.
That will hit.
Wonderful. For 7 points of piercing.
What weapon are you using to attack this masked figure?
Just a small hunting knife, actually, like one that she would use afterwards to make the kill clean, put the animal out of its misery. So it's small, yet sharp. And she would try to go probably somewhere in the side where he's a little bit more exposed.
He barely flinches, although you can see thick blood beginning to pour out of the wound. It is slow. not normal. You've wounded him for sure, but his chanting does not waver. Black Owl.
Yeah, Black Owl is going to God damn it. Sorry, I just Lloyd got me. Yeah, Black Owl will feel this dark chill come over him. A similar feeling to what he had back in that dream world from that terrifying beast that already had stood him down. But withstanding that, and he'll withstand this, and he'll stand up and see where this druid is, now flanked by his ally. Stands fast, and he'll hold up a hand towards this druid, and begin a chant of his own, much less gruesome and dour, a chant of hope and of light. And similar to before, this like smoke cloud will begin to form into this shape of this owl, which will then like burst as if like in flame, and will like rush towards this druid before like erupting in this cloud of like shining golden red light. As I cast a guiding bolt, and it's going to be a 23 to hit.
Yes, absolutely. The magic number is
Alrighty, and
16.
I cast this as a level 2 spell, and that's going to do 20 radiant damage as this erupting magical spiritual fire will like burst off of him. And the smoke and flame will linger around him, dancing their own song and dance, and will guide the next attack against him to have advantage.
It staggers him for the briefest of moments, less than a heartbeat. And then the chanting continues on. And as he turns the skull towards you, the chanting shifts in pitch, and you hear another timbre in it, as if a second voice is speaking. And the ground around you, Black Owl, begins to writhe and swarm. And you see coming up out of the earth ants. Hundreds, thousands of them. And they begin to swarm you and whichever of your companions is standing next to you. And I will let you tell me if it is Spear That Sings or Rushing Crow.
Well, it can't be Spear That Sings because he wasn't next to me when we fell asleep. And I don't remember where everybody else was. So I think that only leaves 1 or 0 options.
It is you and Rushing Crow who begin to be enveloped by these swarming ants. And you can sense within them, in your connection to the spirits, that they are not creatures as they ought to be. They might not even be alive. And both you and Rushing Crow, ooh, youch, are going to take 12 poison damage as these things begin to swarm you, and they start to sting and bite you in unison. Spear That Sings, it is your turn.
There's this like deep rumbling growl that starts in Spear That Sings' throat. It's like too low for and too deep for like a human to make it, and it like rises up into this like insane crescendo of a howl, and it becomes like so loud that everyone in the area can like feel it in their chest. these ethereal wolves that are like painted like the spirit versions of animals we saw in the first world are going to appear. 8 of them, and they're going to rush in and try and tear this druid apart. Listen, man, I don't make the rules. Okay, so I roll initiative for them, and then they get their own turn. So they go at 10. Yeah, so that's me. I'm going to summon these this pack of wolves who are going to appear from First World and just like appear into the world, bamf, like Nightcrawler, and then I'm going to stand where I am.
Rushing Crow, you are being swarmed by these ants. And you've just seen 8 First World wolves appear.
Yeah, he's still disorientated from the plunge back into this world. As he's staggering steps forward as he's swarmed by these ants and biting out his flesh. I can never remember with the swarms. Basically, can I swat these things off of me?
You can try. It depends what you're using, if it'll work.
Just my hands to try and brush as many off as possible. I don't really have anything else.
Yeah, you can try that.
Oh, I'll tell you what.
Mm?
No, I'll just use my hands, actually.
Okay. I don't know if that'll work, but we can try it. Yeah, go ahead and give me a strength roll, and I'll contest it with their swarm.
That's not great. That's a 10.
Okay, they got
No.
a 13.
Yeah, he still beat me. My math was wrong, but he still beat me.
Yeah, you're able to maybe flick a few of these off with your hands, but they continue to swarm you. Is there anything else to your turn?
No, not for now.
Pale Raven, who seems very much unfazed, looks towards these spirit wolves. Lloyd, can you tell me what level spell that is?
It is 3rd level.
Okay. He is going to use his action. And again, you hear it's like a second voice going. And it's as if he blows, as if he breathes. And it is a black mist that comes out in a wave against all of you. And these spirit wolves are dissolved by the mist. And stand fast, it is your turn.
So as the druid is momentarily distracted by these spirit wolves, stands fast, sees her opportunity, and she starts muttering under her breath, and this mist comes from her mouth and approaches the druid and puts a like a tattoo almost on his face. Hunter's mark is what she's doing. And then I am going to attack him with advantage because of Black Owl's spell. Trying to go for some vital organ. That would be a 23 to hit. So, and crits, you say roll twice, right?
Yes, double your dice.
So that's not a crit though, sorry. I do sneak attack damage. That's what it was. Okay. Too much math. 6, 17. So 25 total points of piercing damage. 5 of which is from the hunter's mark.
You plunge your blade into him, and this time there is almost a gasp. The chanting is paused but for a moment, but you can hear almost a gurgle within it now. You've heard him, but still he chants on. And as he turns to you, as a reaction, his reaction, he reaches out one hand that is too long-fingered and too bony, and he puts his hand upon you. That is going to be an 18 to hit.
Yes, that hits.
Let me get this damage up real quick. I should have had all my dice out of the bag. My apologies. Um, 6, 11, 20. You will take 20 necrotic damage.
Stand Fast would, yes, probably recoil from that in agony as her life force is kind of being sucked from her.
Black Owl, you are being swarmed.
The Black Owl is going to like feel the bites of these like ants, but not ants. These like dark spirits, or that have, or undead, or whatever it is that's forcing them to move and behave in this way. And he'll like fight through the pain to like get to where the edge of the difficult terrain is, close enough to this druid that he can see and hear it all too vividly. And it'll begin, like his chanting will like increase and change in its own fashion to one much more fierce than the previous one had been. And he'll like raise a counter chorus against this druid. And like despite the clear sky, there's like this crackle of lightning, like that'll happen as these bolts of like gold and red will like shower down through the trees before like transforming into all like this swarm of lightning reddish orange owls that'll begin flying around everything, like pounding through ants and disintegrating them into light and through the druid as well, as a horde of spirit guardian spirit owls will come swarm down in a 15-foot radius around me and will not damage any of my party members. So anything close to me, including the druid and the ants, will need to make a saving throw right now. Wisdom.
Okay. And how close are you to the druid and the ants?
Well, the ants are on me. So
Yeah, that was the question.
they're in range.
Sorry.
Yeah, I wanted to get within 15 feet of the druid as well.
Okay. They're both going to fail those.
Oh god. Okay, so they're gonna take 18 radiant damage then, a piece, as these like lightning flame owls will like start bursting through, sending courses of like shock and blaze through them on each hit, and they'll continue to swarm around. So anytime that any of those creatures start their turn, they'll have to make the save again.
Okay. Spear that sings. Your wolves have been dispersed.
Yeah, he. God. Sorry, got me so good. So he looks at the wolves that like flicker out of existence, and he tries to pull some of that black mist together and like weave it, and he's going to like throw it up towards the sky. At which point, he's going to call out again in a howl, but for a different purpose, towards the moon, and he's going to cast Moonbeam on the druid. So he needs to make me a Constitution saving throw, please.
That is a fail.
Okay, so he takes 15 radiant damage.
Okay.
If he's a shape changer, he has to make it with disadvantage and turns back into his original form. Yep, that's it.
Okay. Russian Crow. There was a shock of lightning, and now the brightness of Moonbeam, and you are still swarmed by ants.
Just a real quick clarification. If they're creatures, since he's still within 15 feet of me, they would also be affected by the spirit guardians. Just as a random side.
Okay.
You ran forward, didn't you?
Yeah, I think he
Oh,
ran
no.
forward 15 feet. That was my mental map put you guys about 15 feet from him. But with the difficult terrain, it took full movement.
Cool. I mean, I'm going to head up in that direction anyway, because they kind of... Oh, my brain's just stopped working there. Mid-sentence. This is a good start. Yeah, the kind of our ability and pain from these ants biting them would give away the fury. And knowing the source, he'd endeavour to put Pale Raven down. Yeah, so Russian Crow will rush forwards, pulling the grandmother's spider gift and attempt to deliver some blows to Pale Raven for a 20 and a 19
Both
for the
hit.
club, and a natural 1 for the tomahawk. So all up 17 bludgeoning damage, 2 radiant damage.
Okay. Pale Raven is standing there with all of you. And you can feel this energy from the crystal in front of him. And Karen, I forgot to make you do this last time, but I need all of you to please make wisdom saving throws.
He's going to need to make one as well as he starts his turn in Spirit Guardians.
Yeah, he makes that.
He also has to make one for Moonbeam, a con save.
And so he'll take 9 radiant damage then from Spirit Guardians.
Okay, so he failed the con save.
Okay, 19 radiant damage.
Jeez. Okay, you guys, what were your wisdom saves? Your DC is 15.
I got 17.
Those of you who failed take a level of exhaustion as this crystal seems to be sapping your very life force. I can find the right tab. Apologies. Pale Raven gestures with his hands and they clap together and then spread apart. And I need all of you to please make a con save. Okay. Looks like everyone but Rushing Crow has failed. You will all be pushed back and take 11 force damage. Rushing Crow, you will take 5. And that was the legendary action at the end of the round. And now it's his turn. He turns his attention to you, Rushing Crow, who are so near to him. And his eyes from within this mask turn upon yours. And you feel the darkness where his eyes ought to be growing and growing until it threatens to overwhelm you. Please make a con save.
Okay. Con 15 all up.
That is just enough. The darkness threatens to overwhelm your sight, but your strength of spirit is too great, and you force it back, and you continue to look upon Pale Raven. Stands fast.
Stands fast, being pushed back from this foul man in front of her. Man is not even a word that she'd consider at this point. Decides to change her tactic, and instead of rushing back into close quarters with him, is going to pull out her short bow and fire an arrow. Oh, I got a 20 crit. Yay.
Well done.
Okay,
So double the dice on that.
And he still has he still has somebody like right beside him, right?
He does. Rushing Crow is still next to him.
So this would be considered with sneak attack damage as well?
Correct.
Do you double that as well, or
No, just
No,
the
once.
yeah, just the dice on the damage.
I've rolled so bad. So that will be 11 points of damage, 3 of which come from the hunter's mark. I rolled 1s and 2s on all of my dice. It felt so bad. But she, takes the bow and levels it and just shoots him. But though it's true to the shot, it doesn't seem to have gone very deep inside.
How much damage was that again?
11 damage.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, sorry, plus 3. I forgot to add that. So 14 in total.
Black Owl.
Yeah, Black Owl is lying on the ground. Blood is starting to pour from where some of these swarms of ants have like bitten into him, and especially when this blast of force will hit him. But then as he's kind of like struggling to stand back up from this blast that sent him back a couple feet, guardian owls that is swarming around him will like plunge into him, and there will be like this wave that'll ripple off of him as like some of the ants will like go flying, and some of the wounds will be stitched by the lightning magic of the owl, as I'm going to use my action to cast Cure Wounds on myself as a level 2 spell. And then bolstered by that, he'll stand back up and move back towards the druid, which when he enters the range of the spirit guardian owls will need to make a wisdom saving throw again, or else take 15 radiant damage, 7 on a pass.
Yeah, he will be taking 15 radiant damage as he rolled a 1.
And then as a bonus action, he'll kind of just take the spear and ready it. In the rare circumstance that the druid approaches him, I'll be able to make an attack against him with the spear. But that'll be my turn.
With this having just occurred, all eyes are on Pale Raven. But your ears can hear the strange creaking and groaning behind you. The very trees themselves seem to be moving. They seem to be reaching out. You see their roots traveling beneath the earth like snakes, like dolphins in the water. I need, let's see, I believe only Rushing Crow is still in melee with him. If I'm getting this correct in my head. So I need the other three of you to please make dexterity saves. It is only Spear That Sings who is caught just slightly off balance. Spear That Sings, you will take 6 damage, and you feel this root beginning to wrap around your foot. You are grappled. And it is your turn.
Okay. I'm going to move with some complicated hand gestures, the moonbeam, like 10 feet away, and then onto whatever ants remain on whoever still has ants.
Yeah, I believe Black Owl and Rushing Crow still have some left on them. They haven't quite gotten rid of all of them.
It actually might not be worth it because I might just do lots of radiant damage to my friends. Instead, Pale Raven and then back on, so he has to make a con save.
That one passes.
He passes.
That's a 16. Will that pass?
Yep. So he'll take 8 then, radiant damage.
Okay.
And then I am going to cast Shillelagh, unless that's concentration. I don't think so. Let's find out. Yep, no, it's fine. So yeah, I'll cast Shillelagh, and my war club will begin to glow slightly, and I'm just gonna try and hit the root. Can I do that?
It is an athletics or an acrobatics to get out.
Okay. Then I will
this at the
try.
moment.
I will try that.
Mhm.
15 athletics.
That is enough.
Okay, so he pulls at the root and wedges the shillelagh in between him and the root for a moment, and pulls his foot free and does a few steps and quick jumps away from these roots.
Fuck off, cat.
Rushing Crow, you and your cat are standing face to face with Pale Raven.
Russian Crow gazes unflinchingly back at these black depths of Pale Raven's eyes. Ow. Teeth clenched against the fell horror and the magic's oblivious to this movement behind him of the roots coursing through the grounds. He's going to throw his tomahawk, the action designed to kind of disrupt Pale Raven's concentration and break eye contact with himself. So it's an 18 to hit with the thrown tomahawk.
That will hit.
Which is 7 damage. And then he's going to raise Grandmother Spider's gift and deliver 2 crunching blows to the druid for a 19 and a natural 20.
Yes, definitely.
Do you just want the damage all up?
Yeah, go ahead.
21 bludgeoning.
Ooh.
And 12 radiant.
Excellent. You did the methods. Okay. Your kitty sounds very happy. um, end of the round, those ants that are left, dang it, those ants that are left continue to bite at you, Rushing Crow and Black Owl. It's another 6 damage to the pair of you. Pale Raven looks to where Spear That Sings stands. Spear That Sings, is someone next to you, or is it just you alone?
I think I was like right at the back, so I got grappled by the
Mm-hmm.
roots. But he would have run forward, not towards the ants. So whichever that direction that would take me. Maybe I'm near Stone's Fast.
Yeah, I think as you guys begin to close in on him, with the altar and the way it's set up, you'll be getting closer to each other if you intend to reach him. Certainly, Spear That Sings and Stands Fast. Roll, say odds or evens. We'll see if you're there.
Odds.
It's evens. You are there, unfortunately for you. As this druid turns this skull mask again towards you, Spirit That Sings, and the ground beneath you shakes again. You think it's going to be another one of these tree roots come to grab you by the calf, but instead the earth begins to erupt. I need you and Stands Fast to make a dex save. Okay, you both will take 12 damage, having both succeeded in that dex save. And you are not knocked prone, although you are certainly staggered briefly from the impact of this dirt and mud and rock which is thrown about. Stands Fast, it is your turn.
Sorry, if that was his turn, he has to make all those saves against my stuff and Jeff's
Yeah,
stuff.
in the chat. Wiz and con.
So first one is a make. That was the wisdom. The con is a 16 enough?
Yep.
Okay. It's just
So
the two?
I'll take 5 from mine.
Okay.
And 6 from mine.
Okay. He's breathing heavily now, ragged from the exertion. We're going to see what the crystal's doing real quick. The crystal is growing brighter. And I forgot this again. Russian Crow, can you please make me a wisdom save?
That's going to be a 16.
That's enough. You can feel the pulsing of this crystal almost in time with your heartbeat, but you resist the strength that it pulls from you, and you hold on to it with all of your spirit. Black Owl, it is your turn. No?
No, it Stands Fast. She got
Stand Fast, sorry.
Stand
Stand
Fast.
Fast, it's your turn.
With that last attack from the druid, Stands Fast is definitely, she's staggered, but she, like her name says, will stand fast. And she draws one more arrow, takes very careful aim at this druid, putting basically all of what she's got left into this strike. And I rolled a 22 to hit. Okay. And I was using my ability of sharpshooter to add the 10 damage. So the full damage is 28.
Your arrow catches him square in the chest, and the breathing becomes a wheeze. His voice continues to chant on, but it is weak and raspy. Black Owl.
I think at that point, once the arrow strikes true, Stands Fast would fall to a knee, almost collapsing in pain.
Black Owl will like look up at this like swarm of spiritual owls, and he'll like let out like a weird, this like strange whistle. It almost is like a multiple different pitches at the same time, and like this harmonious chord that will come out, and like all the owls will begin to like circle around and then like fly into the ground, and just like this blast of radiant light will like come out from the center until it's engulfed everyone here. And you'll feel this like incredible warmth, this like spiritual goodness that will enter and fill you. As I cast as a bonus action Mass Healing Word, everybody is going to gain 8 HP. Myself and the rest of the party. I'll gain another 4 HP from my Owl's Nest trait that you gave me in the other session as well, so I'll gain 12. And then he'll look at this druid. The warmness from the healing will turn to a sternness, and he'll hold out this sun amulet to counter the sun crystal against this evil crystal that he's using, and he's going to need to make a con save.
That is a crit.
All right, and I don't remember if you decided if that did half damage on a fail or not. If it does, he'll take 5. If it doesn't, then he'll take 0. I don't particularly care. Doesn't say it, but I don't know if that was by design or by or not.
Might have been an oversight. Yeah, we'll say he takes half damage. That makes sense.
So that'll be 5 radiant damage then, as the crystal will kind of focus this holy energy that's been radiated out and fire it back towards him.
It combats the shadow that seems to surround him like an aura. And for a moment, you see perhaps a person underneath. And then the chanting continues again. Spear that sings.
He's going to run forward with like a war whoop, and he's going to try and smash this guy's skull with his now glowing club. Because he's a man more than he is an animal. That's going to be like way over 20. 23.
16 is your magic number to hit.
Okay. That's nice. That's going to be 12. Is it special damage? Because it's shitty. It's 12 damage anyway. No, it's magical, 12 damage. And then I'm going to move the Moonbeam off and then back onto him, and he needs to make a con save.
Doing a lot of saves in this session. He fails that.
Excellent. So then he will take 16 radiant damage.
You can see that the radiance of this moonbeam is beginning to almost burn away at the shadows which surround him. It seems as though he is beginning to glow with it. Is there anything else for you?
That's it. He'll just be howling and whooping.
Rushing Crow.
So many mute buttons here. Can I actually feel this tug and pull that's emanating from this crystal from the last time it was aimed? Okay, so with feeling that, he is going to charge in knocking the druid with his shoulder. And as he does so, he's going to swing the club towards the crystal. So we're going to put 2 attacks onto the crystal for a 20 and a 21.
That will absolutely hit a stationary crystal.
Okay, so 20 bludgeoning, 6 radiant.
20 bludgeoning?
Yep,
I-
all up.
Tell me what it looks like as you come past Pale Raven, who is beginning to almost fade from view as he grows paler in the light of this moonbeam, and you shatter the crystal.
It's like the perfect storm upon the plains or upon the deserts. The bright light shadows all around that seem to fade back into the light itself, fading much like Pale Raven does.
There's a moment where it's utterly silent, and it is as if the air is sucked from your lungs. And then there's the small as the shockwave of energy pulses outward. It is painful as it passes through you. You can feel it burning away at your skin, but it's only a moment. And then it's gone. And Pale Raven drops to his knees, and the mask falls, and he kneels there, wheezing and gasping for breath. It's his turn. And he, I believe,
He needs to make a couple saves.
oh my
Yeah.
God. Will a 15 do it for the con?
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Okay. So 17 on the die for the wisdom.
I'll take 10 radiant damage from mine then.
An 8 from mine.
You see, as he kneels there, he glows, and it is disturbing. You can see the bones beneath his skin, the hollows of his cheeks and eyes and nose. His mouth opens as if to cry out. The mask is gone, and there is only an old man. And he falls to the ground, chest barely rising and falling. You're out of initiative.
I'm going to drop the moonbeam.
What ants there were that were left almost crumble into dust, as if all that was holding them together was the will of Pale Raven. And without that to hold them, they are gone.
There will be this like very strange, eerie sound, as like the swarm of spiritual owls will like revert back to these like golden lightning bolts, and like and like a reverse crack of lightning will disappear back to the heavens from which they came. And Black Owl will make his way over the terrain to stand next to the heaving body of this old man, and just like press the tip of his spear down to the back of his neck, and eye up towards the other party members.
Spirit things will like squat there next to the man and like kind of prod a little bit and see if he's still alive or not.
And Black Owl, you'll notice also that the tattoo is still upon his skin. She that stands fast has not yet dropped it. She's just staring at this old man, glaring really.
Spirit that sings, you can see the slightest rise and fall of his chest and hear the wheeze and gurgle of blood in his lungs. He is alive, but barely.
He'll look up at Black Owl. Was it the mask?
His eyes will go from the man keeping his spear where it is against him, and then flit over towards the mask, and will kind of shake his head, and his brow will furrow. It's difficult to say. The mask itself may be cursed, but it has had such a hold on him that whatever damage it has done to his spirit may be irreversible.
He like shrugs. Doesn't really understand what's happened. But he knows that they killed the bad guy, as far as he can tell. Like, there's no danger here. And now he just sees like an old man who's badly wounded and needs help. And so he just like squats there for a minute next to him and like turns his head this way and that, sort of like an animal would if you were like, they were like trying to examine something. But he waits for like the smarter people to say something.
We cannot be certain that this man is not the source of the evil. If he's the one who's put forth this dark energy into the mask and into the crystal and into us, it would be foolish to let him live. He is the cause of the blight. He will continue to do so. I think we should let deeds be done, be over with it. But he won't actually act yet. He'll wait to see if anyone will counter and oppose him.
Death and destruction brings more death and destruction, no?
Letting death and destruction live to cause more, versus taking one life who's already done wrong and will continue to do wrong further. This man has already caused damage not just to us, but to the place itself. The spirit of this entire land has been tainted by his influence. This is not a blood feud against tribesmen, life for life, trading violence. This is a cure against a poisoned land.
Stands fast is watching you, Black Owl, as you speak. Her eyes dart from between you and the old man. But she says nothing, just hearing your words and waiting to see if you will do what it looks like you'll do. She does not stop you. She does not say anything.
Shouldn't we ask him why? Shouldn't we try and fix it, sanctify, restore balance?
I think at those words, Stands Fast's shoulders would slump a little, and she turns to look at you, Spirit that sings. And she would then look towards the ground, and the tattoo on the old man would start to fade and disappear.
We were tested by spirits. I was, when we were in First World. And it looks like all of us came out of that stronger, but that might be not be the case for everyone. And he shrugs again.
If you wish to question him to find out, I will allow it, but we must be ready. Someone with magics as powerful as this man, he may have tricks, and we will need to be careful. And he'll step back, still holding the spear in hand, but like releasing the tip of the spear from the man's neck, where like a small bit of blood will probably trickle from where the point had been pressed against it for so long. And mechanically speaking, I'm going to like ready in action to like if this person tries to cast any spells to cast silence before he does, and to stop him from speaking. But I'll spare his life for now. But clearly would be cautious and on edge.
I'm going to take a handful of berries from my pocket and shove them into the man's mouth.
There's some moments before the mouth moves. You see the muscles on the neck tensing. And then he swallows. And his eyes open. You did not kill me. Why?
Not yet.
Do not
You've
make
brought-
any sudden movements or say any unexpected phrases, or else we will.
You brought a lot of harm to this world. Many animals died because of what you've done. Why?
All things die. Do they not?
In their own
All
time.
things die, but in their own time and in their own ways, not at the words of darker things. You rob them of the life, whatever amount that they've been given. It goes against the natural order, not in favor of it.
Yes. It has been a long time. But I thought that way once. And perhaps I might again. I am so tired now.
This blight and corruption, does it stop now? Was it the mask? Was it you? Do you have to die for it to stop?
Perhaps. No. Yes. Perhaps. And you see the smallest crook of a smile at the corner of his eye, at the corner of his mouth.
This is a medicine man. He'll like turn to look at Black L with this look of like, you people always talk like this. It's nonsense.
Enough word games. You'll speak the truth. And Black Owl will like bring his hands up. There'll be like a whirl of smoke. And this like strange aura will like descend on this place. Around him and around this man. And I'm going to cast a Zone of Truth, so he needs to make a charisma saving throw.
Fail.
Answer the question again. Do you need to die for this fight to end?
I do not know. That is not for me to decide.
He's telling the truth. At least for the time being, he cannot do otherwise.
How can we fix it?
I must go to the archway of Grandmother Moon. I must cross the water and enter the cave. And there I must perform a ritual. And when it is done, I may die. I do not know.
Spirit Things looks at Black L with this look of like, I don't know how to fix it otherwise, and he's already nearly dead. And if he tries anything,
We will take you there, and you will do it.
My spirit and body are weak. Not even your magic, young one, would be enough. I am too old. It would have been your mother's grandmother, perhaps. You are about the right age, the four of you. They knew me. I traveled between the tribes. I brought my knowledge and my healing. And I traveled further and wandered deeper. Too far, I think. Pale Raven is a name now forgotten by most.
Why? Why would you do this thing? Why would you cause this blight upon our land?
It is not the goal, child. Simply happenstance.
And what is the goal?
He looks to where the shattered crystal had been. There was great power in that crystal. there would have been more things you could accomplish beyond your wildest dreams.
No, that magic is foul. You should have known better.
To be chastised by one so young in my old age. You look as if you are scarcely old enough to hold a weapon.
Just because you've stolen time from everybody else here does not mean you've stolen wisdom.
You can redeem the name, Pale Raven. It can be a warning or a tale of redemption. If you can save us now. But the name is forgotten and it will be remembered now, either as a tale of the darkest and most despicable fall, or one of redemption. And that is your choice.
What you lack in age, you make up for in spirit and in wisdom. Yes. Take me there.
And when we do, you will not betray us. You will not do anything foul.
Much of my life and my spirit was possessed within that which has been destroyed. My power. Perhaps I might cause a leaf to blow and fall from a tree. Or perhaps it might just be the wind. I am no threat to you.
And we will go. When you have cured this land, perhaps the stories will come back and they will be different this time.
Russian Girl, what are you doing while this conversation occurs?
He's listening intently, but in all honesty, most of this is over Russian Crow's head. In many ways, he's always had a problem grasping kind of the intrinsic kind of this of the magics and everything in the world. The skull is still there, though.
It is.
I don't think he could resist the temptation to at least pick that up and examine it.
Absolutely. Pick it up and make a wisdom save. It's fine. Sorry, I can resist. No, it's just a skull. As far as you can tell. It does seem to have a bit more darkness in the corners. But it seems to just be a skull.
once you've done it, examine it, you just toss it aside. And look around at his companions as they kind of talk Pale Raven, as it were, into redemption, trusting in their way of doing things.
Rushing Crow, you heard him utter the phrase, the archway of Grandmother Moon. And you know that place. It is perhaps 5 days from where your village lies. Perhaps 3 from here. You know exactly where that is, and it is a sacred place.
I'll speak up upon hearing that then. So I know this archway of which he speaks. I know this place.
How far?
3 days. 4, depending on perhaps how well he can travel.
I'll carry him. Lead the way, and I'll turn into a bear and have him climb onto my back.
Before we turn from this place, I need to hear it more clearly. When we get to this sacred place, you will not defile it. I need you to say, no, I will not defile it.
I will not defile it. No.
Good. And then this strange buzz that's in the area will fall as I'll release the zone of truth.
So Pale Raven
go then.
is perhaps the weight of a small child, so frail and feeble is he. It is like nothing to carry him upon your back as a bear. You suspect that if you were a man, you could carry him in your arms as you would a child, and hardly notice. You travel. You set out. And at first, the blight is everywhere. Creatures dead or dying. Water that smells and tastes foul. But the farther you go, by the end of the first day, when sun who moves swiftly begins to set, you seem to have reached the edge of it. The air is sweeter and fresher here, and it carries with it a scent that feels more like hope than anything. We're gonna take a D6-minute bio break right there.
Oh, back to you.
All right, I think we are all back. So you travel for 2 more days. And it is the evening on that 3rd day of travel when you come to a lake. It is surrounded by cliffs, and there is a single archway that as you face it, the moon shines through and onto this lake. You can see somehow, although in the dark it shouldn't be possible, but you can see that in the cliff wall on the far side of this lake, there is a cave, at least the entrance to one. And Pale Raven, noticing where you are, yes, this is the place.
I'll grunt as a bear and move towards the cave.
It is across the water. You can see that now. Sorry, I have my own cat. And as you come up to the edge of the lake, a spear that sings, you see a woman bathing in the water in the moonlight. Hair to her waist, form lovely to behold. She turns to see you and smiles, and it is like the stars shining from above. Hello. Are you still a bear right now, by the way?
Yeah, I mean, he'll look, certainly, and like, although he is a bear, he's still a man. And he'll definitely look and wish that he wasn't a bear at the moment. But if she starts to speak to him, he'll like shift and just like drop Pale Raven onto the ground.
Oh. A shapeshifter.
Hello yourself.
Why have you come to this place?
We want to set right some things that are wrong.
But nothing is wrong here.
Not here, but there are more places than here. From where we have come.
She turns her eyes from a spear that sings, and it's almost as if she's just noticing you, Black Owl. Oh. Hello. Stands fast. You have no idea who they're talking to. You don't see anyone. The water is perfectly still.
So I'm looking towards the water, then I'm looking at Black Owl and Spirit that Sings. And who are you talking to?
He like looks back like, what are you, dim? Like the woman.
There's no woman there.
Yes, there is. I'm looking at her. She's beautiful.
I think Stands Fast would kind of touch the antler. And she's like, no, she's not there. There's nothing there. And I think she would at this point look around to see if there is somebody hiding that might
Roll
be casting.
perception.
While that's happening, I'm actually gonna do something with that information.
Yeah.
Black Owl is going to like look and like look curiously at Stands Fast, and then like back at the others and like shake his head.
So I rolled
And
a
I will
20.
cast it away.
I rolled 20 on the die for a total of 29 perception.
Yeah. Jeff, what were you saying? I'm sorry, I couldn't quite hear. What were you Were you casting something?
Yeah, I'm gonna cast Dispel Magic.
Okay, so this kind of happens simultaneously. Spirit that Sings, you're looking at this beautiful woman who is clearly in front of you, bathing in the moonlit water. Black Owl murmurs something behind you, and at the same moment, Stands Fast. You see in one of the shadows cast by the arch, the shadow is moving. It is not just a shadow, there is something there. Russian Crow, what are you doing in all this? You see a beautiful woman. You hear her.
But I can see it and hear her. I'm as perplexed as I imagine. Oh, come on, brain. Spirit that Sings is at the moment wondering why the others can't see and hear this person.
If I notice Russian Crow looking as well, I'll kind of puff out my chest a little bit and stand a little bit taller.
You puff out your chest, and then she's gone. Black Owl, what does it look like as you cast Dispel Magic upon this illusionary woman?
Yeah, he'll just like look down, and like the words of Stand Fast will tug at him to the point where he can't not act on it. It's too important to take any chances. And I'll like begin to like chant these words. It's like a song that's been passed down from the line of shamans for years and years. A ward against deceit and tricks, and like sing a song. Then he'll like breathe, and like the breath will fog as if it were chillingly cold, and then it'll actually turn into like a fog cloud that'll be thick and impenetrable. As the fog cloud will dissipate, whatever is dispelled will like dissipate alongside of it, as like this spiritual wind will blow it away.
The fog rolls across the water. The woman is gone and Stands Fast. You see the shadow moving quicker. And then a form steps out. Half shadow, half human, and yet not. It is some spirit with eyes that are more black than the lake before you, with teeth that are wider than the moon. but they are filed to points, or perhaps it was created that way. It looks human enough, except the gait is wrong, as if someone has watched men and women and tried to imitate them, but never quite understood. And it comes out of the shadow, and it grins with the bright, pointy teeth. Clever, clever. Oh, so clever. Didn't fool you, did I?
And as it's talking to Stands Fast, she's reaching for her bow and her arrows. No, you did not fool me. Why do you do this? And meanwhile, she's trying to if one of the other guys are like by her, she's going to try to get their attention to turn around.
Yeah, you guys will all hear this voice behind you. And you can see the same figure that Stands Fast now sees.
Foul creature. Your deceit was not enough. We have found you out.
Foul! Foul! You only despise what you do not know. I could teach you so much.
You've already tried to trick us once. We will not be tricked again.
Is it a trick? Is it a test? How would you know? You have not asked. Would you be so quick to violence?
I have made no mention of violence, merely that I will not listen to your tricks.
You have not. But she reaches for the arrows, as if they would pierce my flesh.
It's an act of protection. You would not begrudge us to be prepared. Strange creatures weave illusions and then emerge from shadows. We have right.
What's the test then?
Who is clever? Who is clever enough to notice? You are not so clever.
He sort of shrugs, like he knows this about himself. He's not very clever.
It takes cunning to learn, to grasp for the things, the secrets which you do not know. You must be looking. You must be wary. You must not be taken in by the pretty face. And it grins wider. And you can see that the skin around the mouth stretches farther than any person's would. And you can see the pointed teeth all the way back.
Yeah, he shudders a little bit at that.
What do you want?
I usually just test and see. Test and see who might be worth my time. You would be worth my time. You, and he looks at Black Owl, would be worth my time. That one was once worth my time. And its eyes land upon Pale Raven. have you fallen so far?
Well, sadly, unless you get to the point, you are not worth our time, and we have much more important things to do.
You think you have important things. What if I told you I knew important things? I knew of a crystal that could let you walk further and farther than you could ever dream of, Black Owl. And always return again, never to be lost, never to be frightened, never to be fooled.
Experience is not a gift given, but a prize earned.
Experience might kill you. I offer a better way.
All things die.
And in their own time, I suppose. Such a trite saying, isn't it?
Only fools take the truth and think it right. The words have been said for so long because they have merit.
Only the weak repeat what they've heard their whole lives without thinking about it.
As if I haven't thought about it.
And only a fool listens to words that tempt you with power without a price.
I never said there was no price. There's always a price. Of course, there's a price. But think, have you not someone whose spirit you long for, that could be called forth, returned home and set safely to rest, instead of wandering forever?
She made her choice.
And you would let that stand?
I will not make the same choice.
And what of you, little bear, who is a man? Not so clever, but you could be so strong. You could learn the shapes of creatures you've never dreamed of. Things which walk and roam the first world. You would be stronger than any.
I'm already very strong. And I learned that spending too much time as something not a man is not my purpose.
And you, quiet one, you could be free of any obligation except your own desires.
Russian Crow shakes his head. I was told once that a creature with teeth so sharp does not feast on berries and leaves. And he'll look over at Spirit Sings with a nod. And to be strong is to be part of something.
I'm sorry, I think that was just a shit ton of gunshots. Okay. I don't know what to do. We're gonna take a 5-minute break while I call the police. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, good call. Yep.
Yeah, probably should do that. Jesus Christ.
Fucking America.
Land of the free.
All right, like
Something
super
like that.
speedy smoking then, if that's the case, I'll be back.
Yeah.
Well, I need more wine now. Exciting times in the big city, y'all.
Hey, Texas.
Oh,
You okay?
super.
You sure?
Yep, we're good. That's fine.
Lloyd went for a super quick smoke, by the way.
Okay. Whew. Crap, where were we? I have no idea. I have no idea what's happening. Someone fill me in on what just
Yeah.
happened.
The
We're,
thing was just trying to tempt everybody.
Oh,
and
right.
You got to a Russian Crow and he denied it.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure the setting changed in the meantime to the Wild West as well.
Yeah, I think it did. I was about to have a showdown or something. Because woof.
That's the real illusion. It's not just the woman in the lake. The entire world falls away and we're actually like in a saloon with
Yeah.
revolvers strapped to our sides.
That's even worse. It's a backlot in Universal Studios.
We're looking at each other like, dang, what did we just drink?
That wasn't sarsaparilla.
Like, I kind of wish I hadn't been on mute so I'd been able to like count that, but I think it was 7, maybe 8.
Holy.
Like, it was a ton.
Yeah, that's not a car backfiring.
No, and like, I don't know. I've told myself I've heard fireworks before. But this was definitely too loud and too close to be
Yeah,
passed off as fireworks.
the beauty of America, where you have to ask yourself, was that fireworks or gunfire?
Yeah, that's
Huh,
the
I
second
wonder.
game I've been in where that's happened.
Me too, actually.
Was it mine? It wasn't mine.
No, the other one was a Jeremy's, but so also Texas. So
Oh yeah, Houston. And I'm in
Yeah.
Dallas, so you know. Just 2 of the major cities.
yeah.
Hey, Jackson, I think you were saying something.
Pass.
Yeah.
He had
Right.
just said that it's better to have, to be strong is to be part of something, and that he was refusing the offer. And I think that's where the cut happened.
Yeah. Yeah, because what was it? The offer was that you could be free to do your own thing.
Yeah, free of all obligations.
Yeah, so I once desired to be free and go my own way, but my obligations, my duty keeps me tethered, and I do not think anymore that is such a bad thing.
That is your choice. But Pale Raven made his already. You must leave him here.
He's going to unmake his choice and set right what he set wrong.
All things have a cost.
Then he can set the world right first.
That is not part of the deal.
You would not be the first spirit that we have dealt with. We are going to ensure that he sets right what he set wrong, whether you're in the way or not.
You think I am like other spirits. You are mistaken. I am not like them. They were but children compared to me. Now, you are free to go if you do not wish to accept my offer. But Pale Raven has already accepted it, and his price must be paid in full.
Spirit Things just stands over Pale Raven and cracks his neck.
Black Owl will step forward alongside and just kind of give a shake of his head.
And Pale Raven reaches a feeble hand out to touch your ankle, Spear That Sings. And the voice carries to your ear like a whisper. You should not face it. You will not survive. Leave me.
The ritual.
Black Owl can do it. There is enough of my blood upon your weapons. I thought to let my spirit go free. But I cannot. I am bound.
What if I kill you before it does?
It will pursue you, but it cannot enter the cavern.
If you are to do this, you must tell me what I have to do. Once we are within the cavern's walls, I have to reverse it.
The creature takes an ungainly step forward. You whisper Secrets? I have secrets. You should not keep secrets from me. But Pale Raven reaches a hand up towards you, Black Owl. Come closer.
Yeah, Black Owl's already like next to him, so he'll kind of kneel down a little bit so that he's on his knees at least.
He puts a hand with the skin almost translucent and the veins running dark beneath it up to touch your chest, and he closes his eyes. And you see a young man with 2 white raven feathers in his hair. You see him walking into this cavern, and you watch every step of the ritual. And in this vision, he looks at you and he smiles. And then the hand drops, and it was only a few moments.
Black Owl will give like a deep nod, and then stand back up. And he'll like look to the others to make sure that what they're going to do is right. It's clear on his face that he's not sure. We are to leave him. I know what to do.
Stands fast is not looking at you. She is completely concentrating on this creature that's approaching a little bit. And she's got her bow trained on it. But she hasn't she hasn't let anything go, but she is completely ready if this thing makes any sudden movements.
What secrets have you shared? Hmm? I could whisper better ones. Do you change your mind? Will you accept this gift I offer you?
I have no need for your gifts, nor do I want them. They are false ones. If this man has made his deal, then he will pay his price, but I have other things that I must do.
Very well then. Leave him to me.
Spirit of Sing stands for like a little bit longer than he should over the body, and like locks eyes with this thing, but eventually realizes that he has to leave. So he'll take a step back. No, he'll actually take a step forward and then walk away from the body.
Black Owl will begin across towards the cave, not wasting any time.
Are you swimming through this?
Is there a path around, or is the cave like in the lake?
It is in the sheer wall on the opposite side.
then I'll swim.
I will turn into a bear and carry Russian Crow with me.
I was going to say I was going to actually offer to carry someone because I've got the Raven's Wing, so I can run
Yeah.
across.
Yeah. Okay, then I'll just swim.
Stands fast. Are you going with them?
Yeah, I'll go with him. If Rushing Crow offers, I would totally go with him.
The moment all four of you have stepped off the shore, you hear a shriek, otherworldly, and you hear a terrified scream. Cut short. Do you look back?
Certainly not.
Yeah, I think that was part of the expectation for Black Owl, is that something like that would happen. And he knows that while this thing seems to have taken its time to take the price from this person, he does not trust that it will not still try to come after them, since they've refused it and will be dead set on getting to the cavern as soon as possible.
Then you see nothing of the gruesome and terrifying sight that unfolds behind you. But you cannot close your ears. You reach the cavern. Dark. The sound of water lapping against another small shore. Black Owl, it looks much like it did in your vision. You know the way now. The path winds up. You thought it might go down. But it winds up, higher and higher, until you enter a space where Grandmother Moon shines down onto a floor of perfectly smooth stone. It looks as though it's been polished by hundreds of people dancing. And indeed, the walls show it to be so. This place is sacred. It is a beautiful place, and you can hear in your mind the echo of the drums and of the flutes and of the chants that have occurred here over the generations. Black Owl, you go through each tiny, meticulous step of the ritual, circling 4 times, facing east and west, then north and south, then east and west again, marking out the path that Sun Who Moves Swiftly travels, and then another smaller path that marks Grandmother Moon. You carefully take the dried blood from a weapon. Which weapon is it?
I think it'd be his own spear, where he had pressed it in, even after the fight, just that small bit. But if a small bit is all he needs, then it would be enough.
You take perhaps 3 flakes of dried blood, carefully putting them into the stone bowl with the dust and with the ash, with the flowers and with the herbs. You begin to chant words that you feel as though you've known your whole life. The bowl glows, soft at first, like a firefly, intermittent, on and off, and then steady. And then it's a campfire. And then it's a bonfire. And then it's a raging wildfire of light, and it is sun who moves swiftly in his hottest day. And you all must close your eyes. Light pours out of the top of this cliff. And were you to be standing outside, you would see it spread like a tidal wave across the land. Leaving everything that it touches, the faintest gold, for just a moment. And all such things that are blighted fade. And the blight shrinks, and the water runs clear. And the madness disappears from the eyes of those creatures which stumble through the forest. And it is done. Black Owl, what do you do when you've finished this ritual?
Yeah, there's like this overwhelming like sensation that'll wash through him as the light seems to blind him. Not only his eyes physically, but like his entire spirit is overwhelmed by the light. And then once it actually is finished, and the light begins to fade, and his eyes begin to return, and sight falls back upon him. He'll just fall down to his to a knee, just kind of touch at his own chest and like look around, feeling this like weight that's been lifted, and this exertion that he's put into this great dance and ritual that will have like taken hold, and he'll just fall down to need a moment to recover.
What have the 3 of you been doing as you've watched Black Owl complete this obscure ritual?
Stands Fast has actually been facing the doorway, like the entranceway that we came through, the cave, and making sure that that creature didn't follow us. She's got her bow and everything ready in case something came through to stop Black Owl doing what he was doing. And when the flash happened, she would have covered her eyes, and then once she recovered, she would go to Black Owl, who's now collapsed, to see if he was okay.
Spirit of Things would have been singing and like trying to help with the ritual. Like, he doesn't really know what he's doing, but he knows that often enthusiasm helps with these things. So he would have been doing that, and then when it like finally goes off, I think he would just like laugh that they did it, because it would be clear, I think, immediately to him, and he would like lie on his back, sort of with his eyes blinded, just laughing.
The Russian Crow would have stood beside, Stands Fast at the entranceway, staring out into the sky and the lands beyond, sending up prayers to the spirits that they may guide Black Owl in the ritual.
Yeah, and as Stands Fast approaches, to check on him, Black Owl will just kind of put a hand on her arm as she like reached it down, and we'll just kind of give a nod. And he's like breathing heavily, panting as if he had just sprinted a long ways. But he would nod to reassure that he's okay, that he's not in any danger. That merely such things take a lot out of you.
And it is done.
We'll just nod and feel the weight being lifted already.
Good. And she would help you stand and let you lean on her for support without having it look like that's what you're doing.
He wouldn't try to hide it, or to act stronger than he is. He would take the support, openly and graciously. And after a moment, taking that brief second of assistance to gather himself, that he would let go a short time after, and stand on his own, but give a nod of thanks.
With the ritual complete, will you return to your own tribes?
Yeah, eagerly.
I think Black Owl has little choice. At least he would not give himself much choice. He's still responsible for many of the spiritual duties to his tribe, and would not want to deprive them of his abilities and his training, after all they've done to give them to him.
I think there would, of course, be the invitation, because I believe the Russian Crows tribe is closer, so the invitation would be there. I don't know whether it be maybe not a celebration, because there would be, even though there is something to celebrate, there is probably a bit more now around more of an inward looking moments that's going on, but certainly the invitation would be there.
Stands Fast would look at you when you gave the invitation, and she'd thank you. But I must return. I must find the body of my mentor and make sure he gets the proper fitting ending. I cannot return home without that.
I can fly. I'll visit each of you. But first, I have to see my tribe.
When you leave this cavern, there is no sign of the creature, the spirit which had been outside. The sand at the edge of the lake has claw marks and blood, but there is no body and no spirit anymore. What does it look like when you arrive home, Spear that sings?
It's probably sometime later, and hidden in tall grass there's a woman and a cougar and a cub, and there's like this herd of deer nearby, and like a stag like looks up for a second and like chews on grass and an ear flicks, and the wind shifts and the cub goes way too fast and too eager to try and get the stag, and it bolts. And the woman laughs, and the big cougar will like go over and grab him by the nape of the neck and bring the cub back. And he'll say, "Patience, little one." And the woman will laugh again, and it's music to him.
Black Owl, what is waiting for you when you return?
It's one of those moments that it feels like when you return that things should be so different, that life cannot possibly be the same after as it was before. And to an extent for him as a person, that's true. But his return is surprisingly anticlimactic. There's still duties that need to be attended to, sick people that need to be healed and looked after, guidance that must be given, visions that must be seen. And though he returned to the same duties that he's always had and will continue to have, perhaps till the end of his days, he will go at them with a much different perspective, a much more measured hand, one not so eager to venture out into the darkness when he can be here and act as a light for others.
Rushing Crow, you are the first to return to your home, although you suspect that Spirit that Sings might have beaten you with his flight. Or at least ought to be the first. What's waiting for you?
Russian Crow is greeted first by his younger sister, Sky, who, upon seeing her older brother, rushes up, gives him a hug, and that in a childlike way begins to regale of all the tales of the adventures that she's been on, putting his adventure to the back of his own mind, until his mother, Whispering Moon, comes over, and in that motherly way looks at him, checks him over, and making sure that our son is home safe and on one piece. And he makes no mention at the moment of any of the things that have happened, just the joy that the blight has been stopped. But he catches his own mentor's eye, Coiling Snake, for a brief moment as he wanders away with his mother and his sister, who gives him a wry, knowing smile.
She who stands fast. When the body is found and the burial is done, and you at last return home, what do you find?
I find faces looking at me expectantly, wondering why I'm alone and not returning with my mentor. And I search the crowd and I look for my older brother. And I run to him. And without saying anything, but I bring out this necklace that I have kept from the body, and I hand it to him. And then I proceed to go inside our tent.
And so the dreams which brought you together have seen you separated once more. The spirits only can know if your paths will cross again. But for now, the tale is ended. Thank you guys very much for playing.
Yeah, all right.
We did
Uh-huh.
it.
Woo! We did a little tiny campaign. All 3 sessions of it.
Congratulations.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the broadcast. Thank you guys.